Rigidity from disorder. Neural networks foray into glassy dynamics. In this video, I will be attempting to explain the latest graph neural networks models revelations about the nature of glass and glass transitions. But before we go into that, we need to understand some aspects of glassy systems and graph neural networks and why they are a perfect match for each other. So what makes a system glassy and why is it so interesting? The molecules seem to possess no order in a glass-like system. However, the structure itself is rigid like a solid, and we still don't know why. What does the structure encode that makes it rigid? We see that the system possesses a short-range order, but no long-range order. If you take a snapshot of it at the molecular level, it just looks like a supercool liquid frozen in time. So a glassy system is essentially a disordered system with extremely slow dynamics. Now, what is the glass transition? When you cool a liquid very fast past its crystallization point, it attains the glass state. The temperature at which this transition happens is called the glass transition temperature, and this process is called glass transition. Over a very short range of temperature, the viscosity increases by many orders of magnitude. It's almost like you freeze out the motion in the molecules, but you do not give them time to arrange into a crystal structure. These days, most computational models use the Cobb-Anderson type Lennard-Jones mixture to model systems at glassy transition. The Lennard-Jones potential is used to model interactions between two molecules, while the Cobb-Anderson mixture contains of 80% large molecules of a type and 20% small molecules. We see that this results in a ballistic regime at extremely short timescales, and at very long timescales, the system moves towards a diffusive regime. That is, the motion of particles is diffusive. And between these two, there is a glassy plateau. So what are graph neural networks? These are networks that look like graphs, quite simply. They have nodes connected by edges. They're very powerful computational tools that are used in machine learning. To put it very simply, these graphs contain information embedded in the nodes and the edges. And these nodes and edges communicate with each other, and the information is recursively updated till it reaches a stable state. At this stable state, the weight of the graph, the weights of the connection is readjusted from the initial weights. So you can use this new system to predict the outputs of unknown input. In this model, we use a graph network that takes in the type of particle, whether it's a particle of type A or type B at the nodes, and the relational distances between the particles at the edges. Only particles at a distance of less than 2.5 particle diameters across are connected to each other with edges. This is fed into an interaction network. An interaction network then acts on it to give independently at the nodes and the edges, and you get the propensities at each node. And then the interaction network uses the information from surrounding edges to update the information at each node, and from the two nodes and edges connected to update the information at an edge. This process repeats recursively till the whole system is covered. At the end, you stop this recursive process, and a decoder network then predicts the propensities of the particles at some given time frame. So this system could run up to an infinite size if we let it recurse infinitely. However, it was found that after 7 recursions, it covered the size of the sample system we had chosen to model. Before we can use a graph neural network to make predictions, we first need to train it with some input data sets and tell it what the expected output is, so that it can readjust the weights most efficiently to give us the best possible predictions. For these input data sets and also for the testing sets, the Cobb-Anderson type Lennard-Jones mixtures were used, And these modeled the dynamics of the system at different state points. That is, at different temperatures, at different pressures, different densities, and different time scales. Hundreds of these initial independent configurations, with each configuration given different initial velocities, were used to train the graph to predict particle propensities. In the next slides, we will see how efficiently the graph neural network predicted the propensities on testing sets after being trained with these input. Here you can see the predictions of the graph neural network are given in the colored map, where the red portions indicate the most mobile particles, and as it becomes more blue, the mobility is reduced. The black dots are the ground truth simulations of where the most mobile particles are. So as you can see at this short time scale, which is when the brittle regime moves into the glassy regime, the model is extremely efficient at predicting the mobilities of the particles. At longer time scales, this time scale is about 28,000 times larger than the previous one. The model still produces pretty accurate results, but the accuracy is lower and it approaches the state-of-the-art machine learning model, which uses support vector machines. But as you can see, this also still nearly matches the ground truth simulation. Okay, great. So graph neural networks can predict particle propensities pretty accurately. But how does this help us? How can we make sense of it? This probably means that dynamics is somehow encoded into the structure of class. But this does not easily translate into what part of the structure encodes for this dynamics, and a set of equations that show us how this structure can predict dynamics. So many questions still remain. In order to gain some more insight, a series of ablation experiments were done to predict what part of the structure encodes for these dynamic properties. So ablation means removing some part of the network. It was done in two ways. One, by removing shells, and two, by perturbing the distances between shells. And what was observed was that in the liquid phase and at extremely short time scales, removal of the third shell of particles did not have an effect on the predictive abilities. However, once you moved towards extremely lower temperatures, which is the glassy phase, and at extremely large time scales, when the glass has started to relax, perturbations, even slight perturbations at the fifth shell, compromise the predictive abilities. This implies that correlation length plays some role in encoding the dynamics of particles in glass. Correlation length is the distance at which particles are affected by each other. But we don't really have a way to translate this machine learned correlation length into a physical quantity. But it very heavily implies that there is some spatial correlation that affects the dynamics of glass. And so something like a physical quantity of interest for these glassy systems were determined using the graph neural networks. Perhaps by changing some parameters, you can even find other physical quantities of interest. Graph neural networks are also an extremely powerful tool for other predictive processes like image processing, predicting the structure of a molecule, etc. And gaining some insight into the dynamics of these sort of systems has various applications in both food science, drug delivery, traffic jams, etc. Thank you. My name is Anugraha, and this was my lecture explaining my term paper for solid state physics. I leave you with this quote by great solid state physicist Philip W. Anderson.